My chest hurts when I speak. A millionaire CEO saves a dying boy on a snowy night. Snow hammers the windshield as Oliver slams the brakes. A woman is kneeling by a gas station bench, her coat wrapped around a small boy who can barely move. His lips are cracked. His breath rattles. My chest hurts when I speak, the boy whispers. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It is quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let us return to our main character. Oliver rushes forward, shouting for help, but there's no one, only wind, sirens in the distance, and a woman's voice breaking apart. He can't breathe. She's shaking, crying, begging him to do something. He lifts the boy, feels how light he is, how cold. The child's eyes flutter open just long enough to meet his. That's when Oliver sees something familiar, something he wishes he didn't. The boy isn't just sick. He's sick because of him. And the woman holding him? She knows it. Before the truth comes out, someone's going to lose everything. Snow lashes the highway as Oliver grips the steering wheel, every muscle locked in focus. The woman in the back seat keeps whispering her son's name, voice hoarse from crying. The boy's breathing is shallow, rattling like air through broken glass. Stay with me, Jasper, she keeps saying, her hand pressed to his chest. His skin feels cold even through the blanket. Oliver pushes the car faster, the tires slipping on ice. The hospital sign flashes ahead, but the traffic light turns red. He runs it. He doesn't care. The boy lets out a cough so dry it barely sounds human. Then nothing. Silence. He's not breathing, the woman screams. Oliver swerves into the emergency lane, jumps out, throws open the door, and carries the child inside. Help us, he shouts. Nurses rush in. Machines beep. A doctor yells for oxygen. Oliver stands frozen, breathless. For the first time, money can't fix what's dying in front of him. Hours crawl by under the harsh white lights of the waiting area. Oliver hasn't sat down once. His shoes are wet. His hands still shake from holding the boy. Through the glass doors, he can see doctors moving fast around a small bed. The woman, Layla, sits hunched over a paper cup of water that she hasn't touched. She looks exhausted, face streaked with salt and snow. When the doctor finally steps out, she doesn't even look at Oliver first. We've stabilized him, she says quietly. But his lungs are damaged. Long-term exposure. Do you know where you live? Layla hesitates. Pine Hill Housing, she says. Near the old Vance plant. Oliver's body goes still. That name, Vance, is his own. The factory he sold 5 years ago. The one that handled chemical disposal. The doctor lowers her voice. We've seen several cases from that area. Water contamination. This boy's lungs didn't just collapse tonight. They've been breaking for years. Layla looks up. You're saying this didn't have to happen? The doctor sighs. No child should be breathing poison. She walks away, leaving Oliver frozen in place. He turns toward Layla. Her eyes are red, but her stare is steady. You heard her, she says. They never listened to me. Not once. Oliver doesn't answer. He just nods, then steps outside into the snow. His phone buzzes with alerts from his board about a deal closing in Singapore. He ignores them. For the first time in his life, his mind is somewhere else, on a boy who can't breathe and a company that once bore his name. He looks up at the glowing hospital sign. The storm hasn't stopped. It howls like a warning. Inside that building, a small boy is fighting for air. And Oliver knows, deep down, he might be the reason why. Oliver doesn't sleep that night. He stays in the hallway outside the ICU, pacing from one end to the other while machines beep somewhere behind the glass. Nurses move past him quietly, eyes tired but kind. Every time the door opens, he looks up, half expecting someone to tell him it's over. Layla never leaves her son's side. She's still wearing the same soaked coat, her hair clinging to her face. Through the window, Oliver sees her gripping Jasper's hand, whispering words he can't hear. When the nurse adjusts the oxygen mask, the boy stirs weakly. A sound escapes him, a rough, broken breath followed by the faintest whisper. "My chest hurts when I speak." Layla's body shakes. She leans close, tears falling on the blanket. "It's okay, baby. Don't talk. Just breathe." Oliver steps back, feeling that sentence hit him again like a blow. Those same words, the same pain. It's as if the boy is talking directly to him. The doctor joins him in the hallway. "We're running blood panels," she says. His oxygen is low, but there's something else, elevated toxins, heavy metals. This didn't come from a cold. It came from what he's been breathing. Oliver forces himself to ask, "Can he recover?" The doctor studies him. "If we can stop whatever's making him sick. Otherwise, we'll just be buying time." She walks away, leaving him alone with the sound of the storm beating against the windows. An hour later, Layla steps into the corridor. Her eyes are swollen, her lips trembling from exhaustion. "They said it's the air," she murmurs. "The water. The same thing I've been telling the city for years. They all ignored me, said it was stress, said I was overreacting." Oliver doesn't know what to say. Every instinct he's ever had tells him to fix, to fund, to delegate, but none of that feels enough now. He finally asks, "Do you have anyone else?" She shakes her head. "It was just me and him. My husband worked maintenance at the plant until he got sick. They buried him fast, said it wasn't connected. Then Jasper started coughing. I kept filing complaints, calling health inspectors. Nothing. We were invisible." Oliver swallows hard. The floor seems to tilt beneath him. "Thank you for helping us," she adds, voice breaking. "You didn't have to stop tonight." He wants to tell her that stopping wasn't kindness, it was guilt, though he doesn't yet know why. He just nods and watches her return to the room. In the quiet that follows, he takes out his phone and searches Pine Hill Van Site contamination. Dozens of old articles appear. Lawsuits, property transfers, environmental concerns. His company's name is buried in the fine print. He scrolls faster, his heartbeat pounding in his ears. Then he sees it. Vance Technologies donates defunct property to Housing Initiative, 2017. His own photo smiles back at him, shaking hands with city officials under a banner that reads "Building Hope Together." He remembers the day perfectly, how proud he was to turn a waste site into affordable homes. But now, with every headline, that pride turns to something sharp and cold. Those homes were built on poison ground. Oliver stares at the screen, the wind screaming outside the glass. Inside that ICU, a little boy is dying from a place that bears his name. He lowers his phone and exhales, but it doesn't help. For the first time in years, Oliver Vance, the man who never doubted a decision, doesn't know what to do next. The storm keeps falling, hard and endless, as if the whole city is trying to wash away the truth. The man who saved the boy now suspects he may be the reason he's dying. Oliver doesn't leave the hospital that night, or the next. He tells himself it's to make sure the boy's condition doesn't worsen, but that's not the truth. Every time he tries to go, something pulls him back. The faint hum of the ventilator. The quiet sound of Layla's voice reading to her son even when he's asleep. The way the nurses look at him, half gratitude, half suspicion. By morning, he's arranged everything money can buy. Jasper is moved into a private room. The hospital's best respiratory specialists are called in. He wires a silent donation through a foundation under another name. Layla never asks who's paying, and Oliver doesn't tell her. He just stands near the doorway when she thanks the doctor, watching the relief in her face fade into worry. When he finally steps outside, the cold air bites through his coat. The guilt has a weight now. It sits in his chest like the snow collecting on his shoulders. He can't shake it. He gets in his car and drives. No destination, just the need to move. But the GPS keeps flashing the same name he can't ignore. Pine Hill Housing. An hour later, he's there. The place looks nothing like the glossy photos from the day of the ribbon cutting. The streets are narrow, cracked, and lined with old cars half buried in ice. The buildings lean in on themselves, the paint blistered and peeling. Children's bikes lie rusted by the curb. The air smells faintly metallic, like rust and rain. Oliver steps out. His breath clouds in front of him. A man sitting on a broken porch eyes him warily. "You lost." Oliver shakes his head. "Just looking around." The man squints. "I know that face. You're the guy from those articles. The rich one." He spits into the snow. "You people built this." Oliver can't argue. He looks down, hands shoved deep in his coat pockets. "When was the last time someone came to check the water here?" he asks quietly. The man laughs once, sharp and humorless. "Never. The city sends filters once a year, like that fixes poison." He nods toward a drain where water seeps through the ice, dark and sluggish. "That's what killed her husband. Now her kid's sick too." Oliver's head jerks up. "Layla." The man nods slowly. "Good woman. Tried to fight. Nobody listened." Oliver thanks him and walks toward the far end of the block. Snow crunches under his boots. The silence here feels heavy, as if the ground itself is holding its breath. He stops outside an abandoned unit. The door is cracked open, the wood swollen from moisture. Inside, the air is damp and sour. The wallpaper is peeling, the floor warped from years of leaks. He moves through it slowly, flashlight beam cutting through the gloom. A small stack of papers sits on the counter, damp but legible. Old complaint forms stamped rejected. Each one bears the same letterhead: Vance Industries, Environmental Division. His signature appears on the bottom of 2 of them. He reads them line by line. Excess fumes. Chemical runoff. Odor near drainage ditch. Every complaint dismissed with the same phrase: insufficient evidence. He feels the blood drain from his face. In a box nearby, he finds old newspapers. One headline stands out: "Local worker dies after mysterious lung failure." The photo shows a man standing in front of the plant. Same eyes, same jawline as Jasper. The caption: Darius Brooks, 33, survived by wife Layla and son. Oliver sinks onto a crate. The article blurs as he reads it again. Darius Brooks was a maintenance technician at Vance Industries for 8 years. He had filed multiple safety complaints before his death. His case had been settled quietly. Settled. Oliver knows what that means. A payout and a non-disclosure. The kind of silence his company was built to buy. He stays there for a long time, listening to the distant hum of the city beyond the broken walls. Every choice he's made for profit, every shortcut justified as business, it all led here. To this rot, this poisoned neighborhood, this dying child. By the time he drives back to the hospital, the sky has turned the color of steel. Layla is standing outside Jasper's room, arms folded tight around herself. She looks up as he approaches. "You came back," she says softly. He nods. "How is he?" "Sleeping. The doctor said his lungs might recover with treatment. But they still don't know how much damage was done." There's a pause. Then, quietly, she asks, "Why are you helping us?" Oliver opens his mouth, then stops. He's spent his life crafting the right answers, sound bites for shareholders, apologies polished by PR teams, but now every word feels false. He finally says the only truth he has. "Because I think I've helped cause this." Her eyes narrow slightly. "What do you mean?" He looks past her, through the glass, to where Jasper lies surrounded by wires and monitors. "I used to own the plant near Pine Hill. We donated the property for housing. I didn't know." His voice trails off. "I didn't want to know." Layla studies him for a long moment. Then she says quietly, "You had the power to stop it. People begged for help. We begged." He nods. "I know." The silence between them stretches. Then she whispers, "Then don't walk away." She turns and goes back into the room, closing the door gently behind her. Oliver stands there, motionless. Her words stay with him long after she's gone. He walks down the corridor, past the nurses' station, past the elevators, until he finds himself outside again. The snow has started to fall again. Soft, relentless, indifferent. He looks at his reflection in the hospital window. The face staring back at him isn't the confident CEO he's used to seeing. It's a man who's realizing that every dollar he's ever made was built on someone else's suffering. He pulls out his phone. The screen lights up with messages from his legal team. "Board meeting at 9. PR wants a statement. Do not contact media." He closes the phone without replying. For the first time, he feels the weight of what silence costs. Inside, a boy struggles to breathe. A mother clings to hope. And outside, Oliver Vance finally understands that the truth he's been avoiding his entire life is now standing in front of him, and it has a name. The truth isn't just business corruption, it's personal redemption. The story breaks 3 days later. A local journalist posts a short piece online, "Boy in critical condition after exposure to toxic waste." Source link site to former Vance Industries property. It spreads fast. Within hours, national outlets pick it up. Headlines twist and multiply. CEO tied to poison housing project, corporate negligence in Detroit's forgotten neighborhoods. Oliver's phone won't stop vibrating. His assistant leaves messages. His PR chief calls non-stop. He ignores them all until one text comes through from the chairman of the board. "Emergency meeting. Now." By the time he walks into the sleek conference room on the 45th floor, every eye is already on him. Suits line the table, their expressions hard. The company logo, his name, glows on the wall behind them. The chairman doesn't waste time. "Oliver, what the hell is this?" He taps a tablet, showing the article headline. "A child on life support connected to a property under our brand?" You realize the liability this opens. Oliver stands at the end of the table. His reflection glints in the glass. Calm on the outside, chaos beneath. We need to investigate, he says. If there's contamination. A woman from legal cuts him off. Don't say that word. The moment you admit it, we're finished. Another voice joins in. You're making it worse by being seen with that woman. Every camera caught you at the hospital. Oliver exhales slowly. Her name is Layla Brooks. Her son's name is Jasper. He's sick because of what we did. Silence fills the room, the kind that sharpens into threat. The chairman leans forward. You don't get to decide that. We built this company on stability, not emotion. So here's what happens. You walk away from her, from the story, from everything that links you to Pine Hill. We'll handle the rest. Oliver's jaw tightens. And if I don't? The chairman's voice drops to a whisper. Then we'll remove you. You'll lose the board, your shares, your name. Everything. For a moment, no one moves. The hum of the air vents fills the silence. Then Oliver stands. If that's what it takes, fine. But someone has to care about what happens when people can't breathe. He turns and walks out. Behind him, the voices rise. Angry, panicked, afraid. Outside the building, the winter sun is pale and distant. Reporters wait near the curb, shouting questions. He says nothing. He gets into his car and drives. When he arrives at the hospital, Layla is on the phone, her voice shaking. They broke in, she says. My apartment. Everything's gone. The files, the photos, the water samples. They took everything. Oliver's pulse spikes. When? An hour ago. I called the police. They said it's probably a random break-in. She laughs bitterly. Sure. Random. He glances toward the hallway where Jasper's room glows under soft light. Pack a bag, he says. You're not staying there tonight. I don't need. Yes, you do. His tone leaves no room for debate. He moves fast, arranging a hotel room under another name. When she finally agrees, exhaustion takes over. Why are they doing this? She asks quietly in the elevator. Because they're afraid, he says. And they should be. That night, while Layla sleeps in the chair beside her son, Oliver sits in the lobby with his laptop. He still has access to the company's internal servers, at least for now. He types in old passwords, traces file trails, and opens archived reports from the Pine Hill project. Most are clean, on the surface. But then he finds one folder buried deep under a coded tag. Inside are inspection records, signed off by environmental consultants. All falsified. The signatures don't match. The same date appears on multiple reports. Impossible overlap. And one document hits harder than the rest. Disposal permit authorization. O. Vance. It's his own digital signature. Forged, maybe. Or worse, repurposed from an old file, his approval copied without his knowledge. He leans back, heart pounding. If this comes out, it won't just ruin him. It could bury Layla's case before it begins. He prints copies and locks them in his briefcase. Just past midnight, his phone buzzes. Unknown number. One message. Speak out and you lose everything. Stay quiet and she lives. He stares at the screen, the glow reflected in his eyes. There's no signature, but he knows who it's from, the people who've kept this buried for years. He looks toward the ICU door where Layla and Jasper sleep, unaware of the danger closing in. The text isn't a warning. It's a threat. He deletes it but can't shake the feeling of being watched. Through the glass wall, he can see his own reflection again, half in shadow, half in light. He realizes this isn't a coincidence. This is control. The system he built, the empire he led, is turning against him now, because for once, he's choosing to do what's right. He whispers to himself, "They think silence will save them." Then softer, "Not this time." The line between compassion and courage blurs. Oliver must decide what his voice is worth. The press conference is supposed to be damage control. That's what the PR team calls it, a public reassurance event. The kind where Oliver Vance stands in front of microphones, denies liability, and promises an internal review. They've written the speech for him already. Calm, rehearsed, safe. But the man who steps onto the stage that morning isn't the one they wrote it for. The room is packed, reporters, shareholders, lawyers, cameras flashing like lightning. The air hums with tension. Oliver stands at the podium, staring down at the paper in his hands. He can hear the low murmur of voices waiting for him to smooth this over, to make the story disappear. Instead, he folds the paper once and sets it aside. His voice comes out steady, though his hands tremble slightly. "For years," he says, "this company has been praised for innovation, for progress, for building communities. But what we built in Pine Hill wasn't progress, it was poison." The room falls silent. Flashbulbs stop mid-burst. He continues, his throat tightening. "We buried the truth. We ignored reports. We falsified inspections. The toxins in that soil are killing people, killing children. One of them is named Jasper Brooks." Gasps ripple through the crowd. Reporters shout questions, but Oliver doesn't stop. "I met him on a night when he couldn't breathe. I held him in my arms. And that moment, it stripped away everything I thought mattered." He looks out at the sea of cameras. "You want a statement? Here it is. I won't hide behind lawyers anymore. I won't stay silent while people suffer from decisions I helped make." A voice from the front row yells, "Mr. Vance, are you admitting responsibility?" He meets the journalist's eyes. "Yes. And I'll face whatever comes with it." The room explodes in noise, reporters shouting, cameras firing, executives whispering into phones. Oliver steps back, chest heaving. He's never felt smaller or freer. Within minutes, his phone buzzes non-stop. Calls from board members, threats from investors, emergency emails from legal. By the time he leaves the building, the company's stock has already begun to crash. The headlines hit before he's even in the car. Vance admits negligence in Pine Hill scandal. CEO confession triggers corporate collapse. Security escorts him out through a back exit as protesters begin to gather at the front. Someone shouts his name from across the street. "Traitor!" Another voice follows. "About time." He doesn't look back. That evening, Layla watches the live broadcast on the hospital television. She's sitting beside Jasper's bed, one hand resting on his small arm. The nurse pauses at the door, eyes fixed on the screen. When Oliver's voice breaks mid-sentence, saying the boy's name aloud, Layla's lips tremble. She presses her hand to her mouth. For the first time in years, someone powerful has spoken for her, and meant it. When the broadcast ends, she wipes her eyes and turns to the boy. "You hear that, baby?" she whispers. "He told the world." The boy doesn't respond, still asleep, breathing slow but steady. The machines beep softly in rhythm with the snow falling outside. Hours later, The door opens quietly. Oliver steps in, still wearing the same suit, his tie loosened, his expression hollow from exhaustion. Layla stands as he approaches. "I saw it," she says. "The press conference." He nods faintly. "I couldn't lie anymore." She studies him. "You just lost everything." He glances at Jasper, sleeping peacefully for the first time in days. Then he says softly, "Maybe I finally gained something." They stand there in silence, the machines humming between them. Oliver moves closer to the bedside and rests a hand lightly on the railing. The boy's breathing is steady. His face looks peaceful, almost weightless. Oliver feels something shift inside him, a quiet certainty that the path ahead, no matter how hard, is finally the right one. He looks at Layla. "We'll make this right. I don't know how yet, but we will." Layla's eyes glisten. "You already started." He nods once. "Then we finish it." Outside, the city glows beneath a blanket of snow. Somewhere, lawyers are drafting lawsuits, investors are demanding answers, and the world is tearing his name apart. But inside this small, silent hospital room, something else is happening, something worth every loss. The boy exhales, a calm, easy sound. Layla smiles through tears. Inside, the chamber is tense. Rows of reporters wait behind velvet ropes. Senators whisper among themselves, flipping through pages of statements. The air feels thick with judgment. Layla is called first. She takes the stand, adjusting the microphone with shaking hands. Her voice wavers at first but strengthens with every word. She talks about the coughing, the rashes, the smell of metal in the water, the silence from city officials, the letters she sent to Vance Industries that no one ever answered. She talks about Darius, her husband, how he coughed blood the night before he died. Then she talks about Jasper, how the boy used to sing when the power went out, how he asked if his father was waiting for him in heaven. Her voice cracks. "I begged for help. I begged them to listen." When she finishes, there's a silence that no one dares to break. The chairman clears his throat. "Thank you, Mrs. Brooks. You've been very brave." As she steps down, she passes Oliver in the aisle. For a moment, their eyes meet. No words, just the quiet exchange of two people who survived opposite sides of the same storm. Then it's his turn. He walks to the stand. The cameras click in rapid bursts. A senator begins reading his resume aloud like an indictment. CEO, investor, philanthropist, billionaire. "Mr. Vance, do you understand the gravity of your admissions?" "I do." "Why did you come forward?" Oliver opens the folder. Inside are documents, memos, and emails, some with his own signature. "Because the truth doesn't belong to me. It belongs to them," he says, nodding toward Layla in the audience. "And for too long, I kept it locked away." He slides the papers across the table. These are inspection reports, disposal records, and internal memos proving we hid the contamination. "These signatures are mine. I take full responsibility." The room stirs. A senator leans forward, frowning. "You realize, Mr. Vance, this will ruin you, your company, your legacy. Why destroy your own empire?" Oliver's voice is quiet but firm. "Because a child's lungs are worth more than a corporation's silence." The words hang there, heavy and absolute. Reporters freeze mid-note. The microphones catch every syllable. Layla's hands fly to her mouth. Tears fill her eyes, not out of pity, but relief. After years of being ignored, Someone finally said what she'd been screaming into the void all along. The chairman looks down at the papers, then back up at Oliver. "Mr. Vance, this is unprecedented." "Maybe it should be," Oliver replies. The session runs for hours. He answers every question, admits every truth. When asked about the executives involved, he names them. When asked if he profited personally, he nods. "More than I can ever repay." By the time he finishes, the room feels different. Less like a courtroom, more like a confession booth. Even the senators who came ready to destroy him seem quieter, unsure how to treat a man who's already torn down his own walls. Outside, the headlines erupt again. Oliver Vance testifies against his own company. Layla Brooks' story sparks federal reform. The Pine Hill scandal becomes a national reckoning. Within weeks, indictments roll out. Former executives are arrested for fraud, negligence, and obstruction. Environmental laws are rewritten. The company's stock collapses entirely. Vance Industries, the empire that defined him, is officially bankrupt. But for the first time, Oliver doesn't feel broken by it. He feels lighter. He visits the hospital that evening. Jasper is awake, propped up in bed with a book. His breathing is still shallow, but his laugh comes easily now. Layla looks up as Oliver enters. "They announced it," she says softly. "They're shutting the plant down for good." He nods. "About time." She studies him for a moment. "You gave them everything. You didn't have to." "Yes, I did," he says. "I owed it." Layla smiles faintly. "Maybe. But now the truth belongs to everyone." He looks out the window where the snow has started again, small flakes melting on the glass. For the first time, he sees beauty in it, not cold, not emptiness, but renewal. As he turns back to them, Jasper grins. "Mom says you used to be rich." Oliver laughs quietly. "Used to be, yeah. Are you sad?" He shakes his head. "No. Not anymore." Layla squeezes her son's hand. "Sometimes, we have to lose things to make room for better ones." The boy nods like he understands. In that moment, the noise of the outside world fades away. The headlines, the trials, the opinions. What remains is simple. A mother, a son, and a man learning what worth really means. Because in the wreckage of what he destroyed, something new begins to breathe, the truth itself, alive and unstoppable. When redemption demands everything, how much of yourself are you willing to give for one honest breath? The world begins to heal, one voice at a time. Spring comes quietly that year. The snow melts into thin streams along the sidewalks, washing away the gray slush of winter. For the first time in months, the air feels lighter, and the city, wounded but alive, seems to breathe again. Oliver spends his mornings in a small office above a community center in downtown Detroit. No glass walls, no boardroom tables, no assistants taking notes. Just a desk, a coffee mug, and a new name printed on the window, the Clear Voices Initiative. It isn't a company. It's a promise. He started it with what little remained of his fortune, every cent not seized or lost in settlements. The mission is simple but weighty, to help families and children affected by industrial pollution. Free medical care, clean water programs, legal advocacy, and most importantly, awareness. The first name he wrote on the foundation's leadership board wasn't his. It was Layla's. She said no the first time he asked. "I'm not a director," she told him. "I'm a mother trying to keep my son alive." "You're both," he replied. "And that's exactly why you're the right person." 2 months later, She walked into the office wearing that same coat from the night he met her. Faded, but clean, repaired at the seams. She dropped a folder on his desk. If I'm doing this, we're doing it right. No slogans. No promises we can't keep. He smiled. Agreed. They work side by side now, building something real. The walls of the small space are covered in maps and handwritten notes, contaminated areas, community reports, lists of names. Every person represents a story, every story a voice. Jasper visits the office often. His energy has returned, though he moves slower than before, careful with his breathing. The doctors call his recovery a miracle with scars. Today is his first day of voice therapy. Layla sits in the waiting room, flipping through paperwork, nerves twitching in her fingers. Oliver sits across from her, pretending to read an article but mostly watching her worry. "He'll be fine," he says gently. She glances up. He's been through more than most adults. I just want him to have something normal again. A door opens. The therapist gestures for them to come in. Jasper stands in front of a microphone attached to a small device that records speech patterns. The therapist encourages him to say a few sentences. The boy hesitates. His voice is rough, uneven. "It still hurts when I speak," he admits, eyes lowered. Oliver kneels beside him. "Then keep speaking," he says softly. "The world needs to hear it." Jasper looks up, studying his face for a long moment before nodding. He takes a breath and tries again. The sound is faint but clear. Layla wipes a tear from her cheek, quiet pride softening the tension in her shoulders. Afterward, the three of them walk outside. The air smells faintly of wet earth and new leaves. The sun sits low, turning the skyline gold. Jasper runs ahead to kick at a small puddle. "Did you know they painted over the old sign?" he calls back. "It says Clean Water Center now." Layla smiles. Maybe the city's finally learning. Oliver watches the boy laugh, his voice breaking slightly but still stronger than before. "He's tougher than both of us," he says. "He always was," Layla replies. Later that week, they host the Foundation's first public event. Dozens of families show up. Parents, teachers, volunteers, even some of the very same workers who once stood outside Vance Industries' gates. Layla opens the event with a short speech. "We were invisible once," she says. "But not anymore. Every voice matters. Even the ones that still hurt when they speak." Her words carry through the hall, simple and unpolished, but powerful enough to make people listen. Oliver stands at the back, hands in his pockets, watching her speak. He doesn't interrupt, doesn't add to her message. For once, he's not the man at the microphone. He's just someone learning to listen. After the event, Layla finds him outside. "You didn't say a word in there." He shrugs. "Didn't need to. You said everything that mattered." She studies him for a moment, then nods. "You've changed." He gives a small, tired smile. "Maybe I finally became the person I should have been all along." A few feet away, Jasper sits on the curb, drawing on a notepad with a crayon. The paper flutters in the breeze. Oliver bends down beside him. "What's that?" "A logo," the boy says proudly. "For your new thing." Oliver tilts his head. The drawing shows three figures holding hands, surrounded by circles that look like sound waves. At the top, in uneven handwriting, are the words, "Voices that heal." "It's perfect," Oliver says. Layla joins them, smiling faintly. "He's been drawing that all week." They watch the boy for a moment, his laughter cutting through the steady hum of the city. Later that night, Oliver sits alone in his small office, staring at the framed copy of the Foundation's mission statement. Beneath it is Jasper's drawing, pinned to the wall. The city lights flicker through the window, and for the first time in years, he doesn't feel haunted by what's been lost, only guided by what's still possible. He writes the final words for a new grant proposal. We can't undo what was done, but we can give voice to those who were never heard. He sets down the pen, exhales slowly, and smiles. Layla's words echo from earlier in the day. No slogans. No promises we can't keep. And yet, what they've built feels like something stronger than a promise. It feels like proof. Because guilt can destroy, but it can also rebuild. And sometimes, the people who once caused the pain are the only ones stubborn enough to fix it. As Oliver leaves for the night, he glances back once more at the logo on the wall, the boy's shaky handwriting glowing faintly under the lamplight. When the world finally listens, will you use your voice to heal or to forget? If stories like this move you, remember to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. From guilt and pain rises purpose. The city is thawing. Water drips from streetlights and old gutters, turning the frozen sidewalks into narrow rivers of reflection. The air smells like rust and new beginnings. For the first time in a long while, Detroit feels alive again. Oliver walks slowly down the same street where everything began, the same stretch of road where his car had stopped that winter night. The bench is still there, though someone's painted it a bright blue. A mural now fills the cracked wall behind it, wide and vibrant. 3 figures stand beneath a swirl of painted snow, a man in a long coat, a woman wrapped in warmth, and a small boy holding a microphone to the sky. Above them, in bold white letters, are the words, "My chest hurts when I speak, but I speak anyway." He stops in front of it, unable to look away. A small crowd has gathered for the unveiling. Families from Pine Hill, volunteers from the Clear Voices Initiative, city workers, even a few reporters. Somewhere behind him, Layla's laughter drifts through the spring air. It's a sound he's come to recognize. Sharp, honest, carrying the weight of someone who survived too much to ever fake joy again. She walks up beside him, hands in her coat pockets. Jasper picked the quote, she says. Said it's what got him through therapy. Oliver nods. It's what got me through everything. They stand in silence for a while, watching the kids from the community center chase each other across the lot. Jasper is among them, running easily, his breath steady, his cheeks flushed with color. Every now and then, he turns to wave at his mother. Layla waves back, her smile softening. He still gets tired fast, she says quietly. But look at him now. Oliver watches the boy laugh. Loud, unrestrained, alive. He's proof we did something right. Layla glances at him. You did more than something right, Oliver. You changed everything. He shakes his head. No, we did. For a moment, they just stand there, the mural reflected in the puddle at their feet, the city's hum blending with children's laughter. Funny, Layla says softly, how the place that nearly killed us is now where people come to breathe. Oliver looks up at the mural again. The snow in the painting seems almost real in the sunlight. We can't change what we built, he says quietly, but we can rebuild what we broke. Layla turns toward him. You sound like you've practiced that line. He smiles faintly. I say it to myself sometimes. Reminds me why we're still here. In the distance, Jasper climbs onto the small stage set up for the event. Someone hands him a microphone. The crowd hushes. Layla tenses instinctively, mother's reflex, but Oliver places a hand on her shoulder. The boy takes a deep breath. "Hi," he says, his voice small but clear. "My name's Jasper. I used to be sick." He glances toward the mural behind him, then back to the crowd. "Sometimes it still hurts when I talk, but I don't stop talking anymore." Applause ripples through the crowd. Layla presses her hand over her heart. Oliver's eyes glisten. "He's braver than I'll ever be." She shakes her head. "No. He just had someone show him what bravery looks like." He doesn't answer. He doesn't need to. After the ceremony, the three of them walk along the sidewalk, the mural fading behind them. The late afternoon sun stretches their shadows across the street. Three figures connected, moving forward together. Jasper runs ahead, splashing through puddles. "Come on, slowpokes." Layla laughs. Where does he get the energy? Oliver smiles. Maybe from finally being heard. They stop at the old gas station nearby, now converted into a clean water station funded by the foundation. A small sign on the door reads, "Sponsored by the Clear Voices Initiative." Volunteers inside hand out refillable bottles to families from Pine Hill. Layla watches them, pride flickering in her eyes. "You ever think it'd get this far?" "No," Oliver admits. "But I'm glad it did." He looks around, the repaved roads, the new lights, the sound of kids instead of sirens. It's not perfect, but it's a start. Layla glances at him, then nods. That's all any of us ever get. A start. They find a bench near the corner, sitting side by side as Jasper continues playing in the melting snow. The air is quiet but full of life, of movement, of something that feels like peace. Oliver watches the boy, then turns to Layla. "You ever think about what's next?" She smiles faintly. "Every day. I just stopped being afraid of it." He nods slowly. "Same here." The two sit in comfortable silence as the sun dips lower, painting the city gold. Oliver's voice breaks the stillness, soft and sure. Sometimes, the smallest voice can echo louder than a lifetime of silence. Layla looks at him, eyes warm. "You finally believe that?" "I do now." She nods once, a quiet smile spreading across her face. "Then we're both finally breathing." They rise from the bench as Jasper runs back toward them, breathless and laughing. Layla bends to hug him. Oliver reaches out a hand, helping them both up. Together they start down the road, the same road where they first met, now washed clean by the thaw. Their footprints fade behind them, soft in the melting snow. Ahead, the city waits, imperfect, loud, alive. And above it all, the mural gleams under the last light of day, a promise written across brick and sky. "My chest hurts when I speak, but I speak anyway." When your voice finally matters, will you use it to rebuild or to forget? Tell us where you're watching from, subscribe for more powerful stories, and stay tuned because tomorrow we'll drop another story you won't want to miss. Your support helps us keep bringing you these stories.